Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
Wales is a small but beautiful country that forms part of the United Kingdom. It is known for its breathtaking natural landscapes, rolling green hills, rugged mountains, deep valleys, and a long coastline. Much of Wales is rural, and its people have a deep connection with nature. The country has a rich cultural heritage, its own language, Welsh, and a strong tradition of poetry and music. Life in Wales is often closely tied to its natural surroundings, which deeply influences its writers and poets. Leslie Norris, born on 1921 and died on 2006, was a Welsh poet and short story writer. Born in Merthyr Tydfil, Wales, he grew up surrounded by the natural beauty of the Welsh valleys. Norris spent many years as a teacher before becoming a full-time writer. His works often reflect themes of nature, memory, human emotions, and the relationship between freedom and confinement. Because he grew up in a place rich with wildlife and natural scenery, Norris developed a deep understanding of the natural world. This sensitivity toward nature is clearly seen in his poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. In this poem, Leslie Norris contrasts two worlds: the confined life of a tiger in a zoo and the free, powerful life the tiger should have in the jungle.
Today we are going to understand the poem The Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. This poem presents a powerful contrast between a tiger living freely in the forest and a tiger trapped inside a zoo cage. Through this comparison, the poet highlights the pain of captivity and the silent suffering of wild animals. Let us now understand the poem stanza by stanza. In the first stanza, the poet describes the tiger inside the zoo. The tiger walks slowly inside his cage. His body has bright and vivid stripes, which show his beauty and strength. However, he can only take a few steps because the cage is small. The poet says the tiger walks on pads of velvet quiet. This means his steps are soft and silent, just like velvet. Even though he moves quietly, he is full of anger inside. The phrase, quiet rage, shows that the tiger is very angry about being imprisoned, but he cannot express his anger loudly. His strength is controlled and restricted by the cage. This stanza shows us a powerful animal who is trapped and forced to suppress his natural instincts. In the second stanza, the poet imagines where the tiger should actually be. The tiger should be in the forest, hiding in the shadows. He should move smoothly through the tall grass without making noise. He should be near a waterhole, waiting patiently for deer to come and drink water. The words, plump deer, refer to healthy deer that would be his natural prey. This stanza reminds us that the jungle is the tiger's true home. The poet shows that hunting and moving freely in nature is part of the tiger's natural life. The cage has taken away his real identity. In the third stanza, the poet continues to describe how the tiger should behave in the wild. He should be near the edge of the jungle, close to villages, showing his strength and power. The poet says the tiger should be baring his white fangs and claws. This means he should be displaying his sharp teeth and claws to show his dominance. He should be frightening people and animals around him. But this is only imagination. In reality, the tiger cannot terrorize anyone. He is locked away safely behind bars. The poet emphasizes how the tiger's natural power has been taken away. In the fourth stanza, the poet brings us back to reality. The tiger is locked inside a concrete cell. The words, concrete cell, suggest that the cage feels like a prison. The tiger's strength is useless behind the bars. He walks up and down the cage repeatedly. This shows his frustration and helplessness. The poet says he ignores the visitors. The tiger does not respond to the people who come to look at him. This shows his sadness and anger. He is not interested in entertaining humans. His spirit is hurt. This stanza clearly highlights the cruelty of captivity. In the final stanza, it is night time. The zoo becomes quiet. The tiger hears the sound of patrolling cars outside. This reminds us that he is constantly watched and guarded. He looks up at the bright stars in the sky. The poet uses the phrase, brilliant eyes, and brilliant stars, to create a comparison. The tiger's shining eyes reflect his longing for freedom. Even though he is trapped, his mind still dreams of the open sky and the forest. The stars symbolize freedom, vastness, and the world beyond the cage. This ending is calm but deeply emotional. The tiger remains silent, but his desire for freedom is strong. Through this poem, Leslie Norris sends a powerful message about freedom and captivity. The tiger represents all wild animals that are forced to live in cages. The poem teaches us that wild animals belong in their natural habitat, not in artificial enclosures. Freedom is essential for every living being. The silent suffering of the tiger makes us question whether keeping animals in zoos is truly fair. The poem ultimately reminds us to respect nature and protect wildlife.
Let us analyze the literary devices. First one is personification. Personification is used when non-human things are given human qualities. In this poem, the tiger is referred to as he instead of it. This small change is very powerful. By calling the tiger he, the poet gives him emotions, thoughts, and individuality. The tiger is no longer just an animal in a cage. He becomes a living being with feelings of anger, frustration, and longing. This device helps readers feel sympathy for the tiger. We begin to see him as a victim of captivity rather than just a zoo attraction. The second one is imagery. Imagery refers to language that creates vivid pictures in the reader's mind. The poet uses powerful visual and sensory images such as vivid stripes, pads of velvet, concrete cell, snarling around houses. These phrases help us clearly see the tiger, feel his soft footsteps, imagine the cold concrete cage, and picture his wild strength. The strong imagery makes the poem realistic and emotional. Through imagery, the poet contrasts beauty and strength with confinement and helplessness. The third one is metaphor. A metaphor is a direct comparison between two unlike things. The phrase, pads of velvet, compares the tiger's soft paws to velvet. This metaphor highlights the smoothness and quietness of his movement. The phrase, concrete cell, is also metaphorical. Instead of simply calling it a cage, the poet calls it a cell, which suggests a prison. This strengthens the idea that the tiger is not just enclosed, he is imprisoned. Through metaphor, the poet deepens the emotional meaning of the tiger's captivity. The fourth one is contrast. Contrast is one of the most important devices in this poem. The poet repeatedly contrasts the tiger in the wild, free, powerful, hunting. The tiger in the zoo, caged, restricted, helpless. In the wild, the tiger is confident and dangerous. In the zoo, he walks a few helpless steps inside a cage. This sharp contrast highlights the cruelty of captivity. It emphasizes how unnatural and painful it is for a wild animal to live behind bars. The fifth one is oxymoron. An oxymoron is a combination of two opposite words. The phrase, quiet rage, is an oxymoron. Rage usually means loud anger, but here it is described as quiet. This shows that the tiger's anger is intense but controlled. He cannot express his fury because he is trapped. The oxymoron perfectly captures the silent suffering and suppressed power of the tiger. The sixth one is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of nearby words. Examples from the poem include vivid stripes, V sound, behind bars, B sound, plump deer pass, P sound. These repeated sounds create rhythm and musical quality in the poem. They also make certain phrases more powerful and memorable. Alliteration enhances the flow and strengthens the emotional tone. The seventh one is enjambment. Enjambment occurs when a sentence continues into the next line without a pause or punctuation. In this poem, several lines flow into the next. This continuous movement reflects the tiger's restless pacing inside the cage. The lack of pause mirrors his inability to escape. Just as the lines continue forward, the tiger keeps walking back and forth without freedom. Enjambment creates a sense of motion and emotional tension. The eighth one is assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds within words. For example, in the phrase, in his vivid stripes, the repeated short, I, sound creates a soft musical effect. This sound pattern enhances the rhythm of the poem and makes the description more expressive. Assonance adds subtle beauty to the language while maintaining the emotional tone. The poem generally follows an ABCB rhyme scheme. This regular rhyme pattern gives the poem a rhythmic structure. However, the steady rhyme also feels slightly controlled and confined, just like the tiger's life. The structured rhyme scheme subtly mirrors the idea of restriction and order imposed on the tiger. All these devices together create deep sympathy for the tiger, strong visual imagination, emotional intensity, a powerful message about freedom and captivity. Leslie Norris skillfully uses literary devices not just for decoration, but to strengthen the central theme: freedom is essential for every living being.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.